Sand, of course, part of that team, and in the mandatory captain seat, Enzo, the Enzodin as it was coined by us years ago,
Shadows traveling.
may find a while before it is involved on Sunset. The French side starting out on the attack and beginning their default with some deep A control.
First engagement taken by TWIS, and well, not able to finish his dinner. Take the time mandatory and gaining map control and orbs at the same time. Oh, Kellogg's gets a big deal of damage, even gets himself with his head taken off, so exit entry.
Yeah, Twisted Mind's heavy focus on the mid control in this pistol round so far. Mandatory raising the question mark towards A, of course, but now regrouping into a B hit. You can see Zemo already has a high priority with this Cypher utility. It's an early heads up on any moves that Mandatory want to make, and those have been revealed.
One way already being used up, and Zemo hasn't got much from it. That trap yet to be broken, as highlighted by yourself, and TWIS, well, unfortunately has his teammates to support. Getting that front part of the site taken already without much contact. They go and try and take the fight themselves, Mandatory. They'll get one back in their favour. Going to fight on one more, they'll get the advantage in the back of sight. Now just one player looking to stand tall. It was Secre, but the sands of time, they'll falter all the way down. And Mandatory with the pistol.
Yeah, Mandatory moving through the map as a unit. They've only played Sunset a couple of times this stage. One of them against VLX United, a loss at the beginning, which was the spark of change that has put them in this position. Since then, going on to beat Dynasty. And some really effective trades showing themselves just in the way that they were able to rampage straight through.
Really love that wall as well. It gives Mandatory the ability to play around it, as well as just given the idea that it's fully blocking players off. Same time though, well, we're seeing Mandatory with a lot of B control. Twisted Minds have been aggressive on A main. You can see it towards the other side of the map.
This position was left unchecked in the previous round by the MENA team, so it makes sense for them to set priorities here. Exit's the first point of contact, but it's just a question of whether Mandatory clear beyond it.
Go, go, go!
Already beginning that. Exit the first to give away his position, but two more stand in the corner. A deep clear, and TWIS deals with it comfortably, continuing on, but that shorty, well, gets one back. A couple actually in favour of Twisted Minds here.
And quite a bit of damage on the Mandatory side. It's just a K in the end, actually, forgive me. Santa's going to be hard-pressed to get any more done. Secre in the site, he will find the one weak player, but that's all that it is. Mandatory with a clean enough anti-eco. Just 2 rifles, though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not the most ideal position, but not the worst either, right? You've got something with a bit of bite into the next round, and Hip and Enzo, the ones to hold on to these weapons. And, I mean, overall, when we think of Mandatory and how they were playing through Challengers 3, I think the most interesting part was Kellogg's was a real difference maker, right? It felt as if he had a good performance, the rest of the team did. I know it's only 2 rounds in, not the greatest start, but one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, they didn't look the same without him on top form. At his best, beating BBL Pacific, of course. A group of death was pitched against them.
Yeah.
The Great Escape, the only reason that we find them here in Ascension right now.
Yeah, that group, Enterprise and BBL Pacific.
Both stage winners of the first 2 challenges. But Mandatory take no early wins here. TWIS shut out at the gates of B. The Cypher utility remaining intact, as do the bodies. 3 of them stationed on this left-hand side. And Kellogg's, who we were just talking so much about, is hoping he's going to catch one of them in transition.
Fingers crossed, the Headhunter, you know, can deal a lot of damage, but Jesse looks to stand tall, holding on towards this main point, using his one way to his advantage, but no more smokes means he has to drop off, especially with utility getting sent his way.
Kellogg's didn't get spotted. He was crouched in the corner, pushed up to the wall. Now the re-clear comes back through from Twisted Minds, and Mandatory don't use that as an opportunity to scale up on A. They've gone back to middle, and should be pathing through market towards B, but there's a rotation coming in from the defenders.
Yeah, this is now starting to get towards the later stages of the round. Has Mandatory need to get a move on, or Twisted Minds will have everything they need
Running into trouble, it's Hip at the front of the pack. Enzo, quick trade. But time is of the essence. 14 seconds and still yet to breach the neck of the site. Kellogg still snapping him though. Sikray dropping, but exit one back. Still Zemo alive on the site. The paranoia's perfect, but he gets nothing from it. Is there time for this plant? If Kellogg's can stave off the defenders, there might have been. It'll go in regardless, but Mandatory vacate the scene.
I mean, nearly got it over the line, Mandatory. They tried their best efforts, but Exit able to deal with the players there. I mean, right now, I don't want to be picking at players taking their gunfights or whatever, but it feels like to me so far, Mandatory snatching at their chances. I mean, the big one being Kellogg's there through mid. I mean, you also saw Mike have the opportunity to as well. I think this is obviously Mandatory just having a little bit of problems with their debut in Ascension, pressure and whatnot. It can happen.
Absolutely, on the first rifle round, no less. It didn't actually take long for Enzo to bring the fabled Odin out. 4 rounds in. He'll find it within his hands. A couple of ults here on the Mandatory side, and they waste no time to use them. TACAS closing the gap, but Sikray can't find his chance.
Oh, he can. And Sand now well aware of the position of TACAS, but can't win the duel. It's Zemo in the corner, unclear. Everybody in front of him, but only 2. It should have been more potentially, but the res brings things firmly into Mandatory's favour.
Yeah, with that player back up, it's diminishing returns. Kellogg's one more, and it's Jesse left alone. He can't bear the weight. Mandatory up to their 3rd.
And that's exactly what you want, right? What's the buy going to be like realistically for Twisted Minds in the next one? I mean, you could maybe get 1 rifle, but it's not good signs for the defense so far.
Player standing.
I would say in general, I feel like Twisted Minds' reactions have been fairly spot on in terms of reading what Mandatory are doing. The attack macro slowly phasing its way through, but yeah, such a big round for them to win now. Guns in hand, cash flow starting to build up. Seeing TACAS try and get active early, but it's Exit on the other side who's punished.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? When we look at Sunset, both only have played it once in that Challengers 3. And I mean, Twisted Minds will be thinking of Lotus next is what their own map pick, right? But overall, I mean, Mandatory getting a firm start here. Putting the pressure on their opponents is exactly what you want in a best of 3.
Yeah, Twisted Minds as well are a team coming from a region, MENA, which has such an affiliation towards playing Neon on this map in general. We saw it with TU last year as well, the team which Sand was a part of that went top 4, which would be an Ascension game this year, of course. He was also another one of those players that we saw in the EU Pro City, right? Yeah. The Champs queue. All of the best teams in the world coming to town, and Sunset was that map, but need to see an improvement here. Nothing for now, I don't believe. Zemo isolated on B. A swift opening from TACAS, and Mandatory given daylight to get this plant in.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they'll be looking for, right? The fact that Enzo gets the next orb hit, probably another one looking to try and get something towards that Nightfall. It's just Sheriffs here at the end of the day, Hazza. There's not going to be much in terms of opportunities for real engagements.
And with how the Sage plays as well, it's just slowing this up into a crawl for Enzo. Odin trying to control the space, command it as much as possible, but the gunfire doesn't do all too much. Twisted Minds are still breathing here in the backside. Mandatory will want to try and keep this as clean as possible. Jesse will be hard-pressed to find anything more on the way out. So with that, Mandatory extend their advantage. 3 rounds now, the gap from the attack side.
Teleport's gone.
Yeah, and with that, the next couple of rounds going to have Twisted Minds having the favour in terms of ultimates, but Mandatory here, I mean, a little bit of information about the organisation.
Yeah, run by Zareta, of course, French streamer, always playing second string to your Job Lives of the world, for example. The team that won the league 3 times and was the French representative last year, of course, but it's that consistency which has boded well for them. Kellogg's is the sole ult investment into this round, as Mandatory have been spacing them out. Twisted Minds have been stockpiling them.
Yeah. I mean, they need to be used at some point, right? You don't want to allow that gap to build. Well, you've just sitting on ultimates.
And the big thing for me in this round as well is the fact that the op is out for exit and playing through market towards the Cypher setup where Mandatory, in their default, should be looking for trap wires, maybe potentially contacting in. Huge opportunity. Can't quite claim it.
I mean, that's the opportunity you were wanting, right? That engagement, especially when contacting, no utility to try and stop you. Jesse, though, he's maybe played a bit far too forward. There's an opportunity on towards the A side.
Oh, it's an opportunity taken by Mandatory. Might even be one more here for Kellogg's. Big exchange. But neither player can find their mark.
And I mean, at this point, Twisted Minds, do you think about saving? I mean, the operator was a big investment. Sand's got a rifle, and that's the op gone.
No, you had to. You had to save. Exit was looking for something on the way out, but by my count, that's 0-3 for op shots on the round, so not what you want to see at all with such an investment. Sand should be chased on the way out here. It's Kellogg's who will get the first chance, but he does go spotted on the other side of the Viper wall.
I mean, it'll be one more kill to be found by Sand.
Okay.
But he's already got the Viper's pit, so realistically it's just damage and the economy of Mandatory as they keep trying to chase him down.
All right. Sand is sharp, we know him to be.
Yeah.
He flexes across multiple roles.
I mean, he's always been a great player amongst tier 2.
Dude, we've got like 3 players on Twisted Minds who play Viper, a Sentinel, and then also a Duelist. So Sand being one of them, you expect that. But just looking back at the replay here, yeah, I think Twisted Minds right now do feel quite fragile on that A-hold mid-round in terms of the main control. B has been kept quietly under lock and key with both of their anchors, but that's where the problem point is for me right now. Another org which has been active for several years, but only finds itself here in Ascension for the first time, the same as Mandatory.
I mean, Twisted Minds and I guess MENA as a whole, like, it's always been an interesting scenario, right? And it's the fact that for years it was always Falcons who were at the top, right? Yeah. And they continued that dominance. And then last year we had the Ultimates who took the representation spot for MENA, and that top 4 finish was, I guess I was surprised by it, because in their opening game they got demolished by BBL Pacific. That was their first ever showing in an inter-regional competition.
Yeah, it's the kind of opportunities that you'd been wishing for, though, from the MENA perspective, because I think it was TU playing on LAN as well. Yeah. They came out to Berlin. They played in the same practice rooms before to get the low ping. I mean, even coming into this year with some of the Challengers events before, they didn't have enough time to prepare for them afterwards. We had, you know, scheduling with play-ins in years gone by, and yeah, there is talent there. I mean, Sand coming from Egypt, same as Alves was previously on a team with him. We saw what he did on KC this year. There is a pipeline, and we're now starting to see the fruits of it. But in this round, something has to change. 5 ults up for Twisted Minds, but still just the 1 round.
Well, going for a big investment on this one. With all 5 rifles, not a lot left in the back pocket, this will allow Mandatory to really push forward if they were to win this round.
Like here, just simple stuff, but should be a little more effective. One player taking contact, the next ready to peek. We saw it from the eco from Twisted Minds on their A-hold. How will they fare against some upgraded weaponry?
Presence being shown on A main, just gaining the interest of Exit.
There.
And Jesse.
Definitely raising the alarm here, though, and it's going to force Twisted Minds to try and re-clear. The dart doesn't land in the best of positions to really confirm that Mandatory no longer have access, and here comes the B-split.
This is the second time that Takas has used this pattern on the ultimate, and he'll get stopped for it this time. Remember, Citry missed the opportunity last, and Miller's Hunter's Fury won't get a tag either, but Mandatory, they've invested the B site and looking to try and push it forward instead. No, on towards the site to get the spike planted.
Yeah, all the players on the Twisted Minds side in Boba as well. No backside control. Mandatory have the possibility to take it if they want, and they go 1 for 1.
Now, Kellogg's with the operator, tries to challenge Sand, and well, it doesn't work out. The players trying to get out into main are highlighted by the trip, and Twisted Minds find the answer they needed after the timeout.
Yeah, it's a very clean retake from Twisted Minds there. Mandatory solely pathing through market, which meant that the main trap did a lot more work, and they weren't too quick to take backside control either because of this Viper wall, giving it a lot of respect. And it makes sense because Twisted Minds had been playing there before, but they don't overinvest player numbers early. And when they have that advantage, they are able to convert it.
I like the exit is always trying to go for this operator. It's a big piece in the setup of the defense. The fact that they can use it to hold down a lane and gain information from that. And also, exit has the ability to opt for the overdrive, the Neon ultimate, if needed as well, to get up close and personal. Mandatory once again, start with mid, 4 bodies here.
TACAS is the gap close, and Mandatory so far have relied fairly heavily on him finding opening picks. That and Kelox, of course, who's still roaming mid. Behind the rest of this train of players, Sitcray playing with discipline, but now Mandatory playing into him! Oh, TACAS breaks the ankles, ducking and weaving, still through the wall, tees up Enzo for his second.
And on top of that, Mandatory are in the back line. Sand, he tries to challenge it, but he's lost.
Yeah, forgoes the pit. Not willing to leave his post, and getting caught out like that means that it's the op in play again, and no choice but to save if you're Twisted Minds. A similar look from Mandatory in terms of the execution, but that much more efficient this time, especially the wall aiding that rotation.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a bit of information from the last round, right? Well, the last 2 ultimate rounds that TACAS has gone for, because if you watch it, right, every single time up through mid, he's following this little path in here, like just going to the left side and challenging it that way. And then Sitcray, who's like playing round about this position right now, where we're seeing the X, he saw that twice in a row, so he's all we're seeing from TACAS is like, hey guys, let's go and challenge this lone player who's untradeable, and they get the advantage from it.
Yeah, and to speak of positives, that's something that Mandatory are very good at doing, having set executions and also building off the back of that conditioning.
Yeah.
You'll see that with a lot of their ult rounds. I'm thinking when they play Yoru and Sova, for example. I'm sure that's going to come up later on. You know, you expect it to on Lotus most likely. But yeah, they always have the potential to threaten with these kinds of plays, and now Twisted Minds, being conscious of it, want to try and take the fight to their doorstep, and it's going to work out. Kelox is the first casualty, and the control lost. Look at these player positions.
They're so passive right now, Mandatory, trying to respect everything Twisted Minds have done so far. But the problem is how do you go and re-clear the rest of the map? They're going to have to spend a lot of time making sure that the menace, the defense, haven't gone and taken map control.
Yeah, and precious utility as well. In terms of rechargeables, Mandatory don't have all too much here versus a team that was playing a Sova or a KO, for example.
Oh.
This is a wall.
Yeah, and all of those players on top of it as well, so Exit needs to be careful.
Just wondering, when's Mikey going to take this peek? Is it off the res? Look to be out in the open now, but shifts back behind the wall when Exit makes his reprisal.
He's going to be frustrated when he looks back at the VOD knowing he missed his timing, but Jesse once again stands in front of his own utility, looking to play in front of the site, but waits, goes against his decision because he got caught out last time.
And the support has arrived this time. Exit's here with the op.
It's all about his timing, and he's going for it. The smoke drops at the perfect time, but an easy trade by TACAS. 4-4, but 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Mandatory backpedaling. They've still got Kelox waiting in tiles, but I think you've got to hit A here.
Yeah, you've got to go fast. You've got to get that spike down, and well, it's up to Jesse to deny that. And unfortunately, TACAS is on fire. Oh, but the spike dropped in a pivotal time in the round. Zemo with the double. Kelox comes in clutch.
5 seconds.
They've got to get this spike down, and it's up to Kelox to play Overwatch and Protector, and he is there to do it.
Brilliant team play from Mandatory in the key moments. Sticking up and standing out for one each other, standing their ground. TACAS again on the entry. Invaluable to his side. And Kelox as well. When they beat BBL Pacific, you know, map to map, Lotus I'm thinking especially because it's coming up in the veto here, 45 kills between the two of them. It's that kind of impact that you want to see, and you can see them both at the top of the scoreboard here already.
Yeah, but there's 3 players ready to fight for Twisted Minds for this round, and Exit gets it started off right. TACAS, who got a 3K in the last round, has been denied.
This is a mixed investment from the defenders, but going to need a couple more rounds here at the very least. So while this may not be it, what can you realistically build towards? Sikray potentially coming up on a Hunter's Fury soon, but the win conditions of the rifles, one in the hands of Exit, on board with him right now, other side of his own teammate's trap, trying to play towards this mandatory market execution.
The split, 2 anchors towards the back side, both with sheriffs in hand, both rifles having to rotate in, but they are here pretty sharp. Still the spike tapped and still mandatory looking to try and force themselves forward a little bit, but it's hit from main that gets the next kill. Sikray only one back in the conversation, but 2 rifles still alive for Twisted Minds. They can't quite find the engagements they want.
Yeah, it's a 3-on-3 though, and still backside control. Zemo profiting.
Yeah, that's a big kill to get the next one in the conversation. It's up to Enzo and Kellogg's now. And one has an outlaw. You look towards the rest of the bodies, I mean, they're all within 1-shot range, but it's Enzo's rifle! Oh! That was getting the next couple for mandatory. It will be Twisted Minds, though, to get their 3rd in this half, but they need more than just that.
They do, but this is a huge win. And a brilliant start in getting towards that, a thrifty, where mandatory, again, failed to strip back that backside control. And so trading out, this time it's Twisted Minds that come out on top. Some very close rounds so far in the series, but if mandatory can get up onto an 8th, maybe even a 9th with the money that they have, that could be enough.
So for a minute, Takas going for an operator as well. I thought, surely not, mate, but obviously not the case. Back towards A main, where we saw Twisted Minds have 3 bodies there last time. It's the same scenario, but this time Sikray is further back and looking to use utility instead to support.
Yeah, has the ult up now that I was referencing in the previous. So perhaps just looking for a solid line to fire it into. Exit has the first point of contact, of course, but from elbow, still an air of concern around this. Mandatory again looking to middle.
Cover going out.
Takas going for the same pattern once again. That's the fourth time we've actually seen him go up towards top left. And now Sand gets supported by the Hunter's Fury, looking to take an engagement but traded out. So this B site under threat. Zemo has to be careful he isn't the next kill to go in Mandatory's favour, or else it will be a B site plan. And that's exactly the case. Takas' neon movement is unbelievable, but that spike lost.
He's going to need that movement now to get the spike in. Committed to the B site, Kellogg's to repeat.
Oh, nice peek in though. And now advantage towards Mandatory, but Jesse's quick on the mark. And you know Takas is low. He's playing with the devil, dancing with them, and he won't get the kill he's looking for. So up to hip, and a 1 versus 2. Playing from market.
They don't know.
And the spike is planted for him.
Smoke's gonna help. He can walk up on this.
And he also has C's Haunt in 3 seconds. Everything going in Hip's favour, but the fight against a low Sikray goes in favour of Twisted Minds. We're up to 4.
Yeah, and 2 on the bounce for the MENA representative. The feel-good factor is back. I mean, some of this movement from Takas is audacious. Just clips behind the wall. Zemo will be frustrated, but buys the time for his team to get in. And like I said before, it's the difference with these B executions. Having the backside control versus losing it early. Mandatory look that much more threatening when Twisted Minds aren't breathing down their neck.
You can see what it means to the coaching staff, right? Some people who have been in the tier 2 scene for the longest time. I mean, Andreas is a person that I remember all the way back on. I'm gonna have to say it.
Don't.
Who cares? Bodog, there you go.
Hey,
mate.
who
You've got
bloody
your mention.
cares?
Yeah,
Not
no.
me.
I mean, fair enough. There you go, Bodog. You've got your mention, but
You didn't even have to do that. Terrible. But yeah, I completely agree, right? He came into this project after a 5-month break of being with Kase in the previous year, knew what it meant to win a Challengers title, but MENA is tough not to crack, a completely different problem, I think, in its entirety, but trusting on reliable players that have that domestic experience, like Sikray, many a team he's been on since 2022, 3 years that he's spent in the region, outside of his own, of course, and that's also the case with Jesse, an import, a player that we've seen tossed around from roster to roster, plus Jesse minus Jesse, but it feels like he's found a project that works for him, and the coaching staff have their man. So very impactful in the last few, in fact, the Omen player. Can they get one more is the question, Cairo. 7-5 suddenly makes this feel a lot more competitive.
Well, when I look at the scoreboard though, there's one big factor in this round, and it's a fact that Mandatory are sitting on 4 ultimates, right? We need to see them being used.
I mean, look, Enzo's not far off the res either here, and a main control is where you'd usually go for the ult orb.
Oh.
Twisted Minds have cranked things up to 10 though. Takas ready to challenge.
Gotta go.
Exits up.
We know how good the movement can be. Unfortunately, not good enough is the answer. The one-way gone, so the floodgates open, but taking their time and with the engagement, and Jesse capitalises a double swing, gets Enzo the kill, and the res online.
Oh, and it's Takas that's brought back from the dead though, in the land of the living. Mandatory in a 4-on-4, which could quickly swing in their advantage, but Kellogg's makes a double take!
Oh, and you thought that Kellogg's was going to be able to come back. Sorry, Takas able to come back and haunt Twisted Minds, but that is not the case. He'll fall, and as you said, it's a competitive half.
Yeah, a noble effort from Twisted Minds to recover the last 3 there. Their first round 1 on elimination after all those retakes. Is it going to be enough? We'll see in the second half.
Team A.
Scanning ahead.
Go.
Keep it up, bro.
I could have left, maybe I wasn't sure.
Welcome back to VCT Ascension EMEA, where we're about to dive into the second half of Sunset, the map of Mandatory's choosing. But Twisted Minds have kept this one interesting, not letting the game get away from them. Just 2 rounds the gap, and with 1 pistol round already under their belt, could they be looking for another one here?
I mean, especially with how that half started, I think that it's admirable that Twisted Minds were able to come back into it. You know, sometimes you get a couple jitters getting into the first map of a tournament.
It's interesting considering Twisted Minds have played more games on land this year than Mandatory, of course. The MENA finals hosted in Riyadh. So just the 1 best of 1 in Paris. With that now behind them, Twisted Minds taking the B control, firing up against the wall. It's Kellogg's deep in tiles though, that will find first blood.
A mercurial player once again coming up and able to TP out. No tradability whatsoever for Twisted Minds, and that'll be frustrating.
A little bit more time on the reclear here as well, and because Twisted Minds haven't broken the B wall or any more than just the 1 segment, Enzo's still playing from the corner. Could quickly find himself exposed to market pressure though, and for that reason exactly, you've seen him join up with Takas.
Cypher shown presence. I don't know if that's enough to keep players towards B though.
Yeah, the spike is heading elsewhere, already towards A. Trademark up on short, it's Kellogg's again in the danger zone, but it's him you've got to be watching out for. Exit not looking, caught in the side of the head, and he'll have the info from his own utility now to play off. The slow spreads itself out. And Twisted Minds spread thin in the last 20 seconds. A 3 versus 5.
I mean, 15 seconds remaining. You've got the late luck of Zemo, though.
This could be everything. Zemo's just going to swing at it, though. And with that, Kellogg's hammers down the next, as do Mandatory. The spike won't even go in. It drops to the ground as Twisted Minds' grip loosens on this game.
We said it before, and I'll say it again. It's about the fact that Kellogg's wants to go and take the initiative and challenge the setup by Twisted Minds across the map control that he pushed into. And then on top of that, like we were saying it before, he can be the decider in terms of how Mandatory go about their business.
One of only 3 players in the server, on the Mandatory side, all of them, with partnered experience in VCT. Always a feast or famine player, I think you would call him. And it does come down to those initial engagements sometimes, so the fact that he's on form already today bodes well for Mandatory's chances. Kellogg's just overlooks exit on the slide the first time, but recorrects to collect, and with Takas finding sand in middle as well, this non-purchase is a non-starter.
Yeah, it's to be expected, and that's both pistol rounds won by Mandatory now. And they can kick on from that, especially if they can keep everything, all the purchases. It looks like that's to be the case as Kellogg's gets the last couple.
Yeah, no, they win against the pistols. Twisted Minds did pick up the first round of the game, of course, but...
Oh yeah, apologies.
No, you are right. I am just chatting absolute nonsense.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Know, I believed in you, Hazza.
No,
and you know
I
what?
did too.
You've lied to me.
It looked like a good pistol, but maybe not.
I mean, the other big thing about Mandatory that people always forget, they're the partner team for Fnatic as well, remember?
Used to be, yeah, used to be the affiliate team, so sort of, I guess, in the same way that BBL are to BBL Pacific.
Yeah.
Name sponsor in a way, titling, but Kellogg's is the one holding the mantle right now. So far on this defender's side, getting past him has been a problem. And with Enzo just pocketing this wall, the longer he holds onto it, the more valuable it will be.
Twisted Minds waiting for Mandatory to be the ones to move into and challenge. I mean, that's the thing, they have been doing it, right, Mandatory?
And there you go. Enzo gets the wall up in A main, and it fortifies. So either Twisted Minds respect this and wait for it to decay, which is going to take a while, or they break it, and Mandatory get a heads up.
Oh, okay, Zemo. He's been good for a couple double kills. And Takas happily picking up the rifle, but I mean, the fact that you've lost Enzo and Mikey, no smokes, no able to slow, etc., that's going to be a bit of a tough loss.
Yeah, flank coming in though.
Well, Takas unfortunately not able to trade back, not even get a bullet off, sit quite quick on the mark and spike down.
Twisted Minds will want to try and keep this as clean as possible. Jesse has the most credits of all his teammates, sat at just a measly 500.
Still, looks like Mandatory might be happy with waiting for exits.
Just playing for it here in A main, the two of them, Hip and Kellogg's. And for Twisted Minds, it's another round on the board, an important one. Keeping 4 players alive when all is said and done. It's going to massively boost their chances with the gap down to just 3. Kellogg's should be looking to die here, holding onto the Bulldog. He will upgrade that in the buy phase for the next.
I find it interesting that Kellogg's never wanted to go and challenge the players on site because he's 1 away from his ultimate. So, I mean, just to have that in your back pocket for the next round, I mean, I guess it's semantics, right? It's if buts and maybes.
Yeah, it would have been, right? But buys the operator here regardless. And Enzo the Odin. Plenty for Twisted Minds to try and get past, but improvements made already early, winning the round that you expect them to. And it's Enzo's site under threat yet again. This time, just gonna drop a slow to safe keep, but it's this Odin you've got to worry about.
He knows all the angles that he wants to be using. Wall to again reinforced as we've spoken about before, but highlighted by the drone. Not able to get the fight that he's looking for. I mean, Twisted Mind's happy to respect it, pick up the orb and back off.
Yeah, and the fact that Twisted Minds do get the orb is huge, because one of the areas where the Odin is really strong is through the corner of that wall when a player is looking to take the ult point. Enzo, such a nerdy player, revising where he can find value from this purchase, and yeah, that's what you've got to be looking out for. But well dealt with so far from Twisted Minds, and actually Mandatory almost fully giving up A after that Horn.
Yeah,
to play retake.
So far, when on the defence, Mandatory have been proactive, looking to take space and engage in this, but they're instead, this time, respecting the space Twisted Minds have and actually gambling on the A side of the map.
Yeah, and still plenty of big utility for the defence to retake with. Twisted Minds, some of their own, Paranoia, Stun, and the C's on hip. There will be no change to the player numbers before the spike goes in. It's a 5v5 in post.
Yeah, there's only one ultimate in play, and that is Zemo's, so it's not really going to be the most impactful one either. And having to retake with an operator, is going to be another task in itself.
Yeah, you've got to find a kill first. There's barely a drop of blood on the canvas, and time is starting to tick. Mandatory put their util in play. Jesse blinded from the default box, but won't find himself caught. It's Takas and Hip to fall instead at the hands of Exit and Sand. That's exactly what Mandatory will do. They will take a swift exit from the retake. An attempt was made, but just not enough utility baited out from the attack. Kellogg's should get one more, but that is all.
We're within 2 now. That gap starting to slowly depreciate.
This is where Mandatory have to make the most of this second half, because we've touched on it a few times already, quite loosely. The BBL Pacific players enjoying themselves, popcorn out, just watching along, seeing who it is exactly they're going to be facing up against in a couple of days' time.
Let's go.
Yeah, some familiar faces in the server that they've played against before, but familiar faces between these two as well, as Twisted Minds and Mandatory did challenge each other in the lower bracket final of Challengers 3, remember? That one went all 3 maps. It was Mandatory who came out on top there as well. Sunset didn't feature, but the next map of Lotus did.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a moment though.
Exactly. Twisted Minds undefeatable there. So you're expecting the thought process to have been sort of set up towards that third map potentially, but Mandatory need to pick up the pace a little bit here. It's Twisted Mind to turn things up a notch as they are exploring top mid for the first time. It's a quick pivot back towards market though.
Back to be Mandatory also here in the droves. Enzo holding down the Odin and trying to spam the cross, but doesn't work out. Exit thinking about backside, but Takas in the corner gives himself away. And the next 2 kills, importantly, go towards Twisted Minds.
Cage trigger.
Player deficit for Mandatory, but space backside that they could take. Sikray feels that negative.
But I was about to say he's the only one. No Sand. And also Zemo and Jesse ready to trade off of that. How does Mandatory try and break this hold? Because it looks ice cold. There's no way that you can manage to trade out. There's no flashes. The utility isn't necessarily there, but apparently the mechanical ability is. Next 2 kills go in favour of Twisted Minds though, and that might just be all she wrote in this round. It's Hip to try and break it all down, but with 5 bullets in the chamber and not a lot of chances, he decides to call it quits and try and get out with the operator, which he won't be allowed. We are within 1.
Such a well-played round from Sikray as well, the in-game leader of this team. Not a role which he'd been all too familiar with over the years in MENA, but in this project now, looking so good, taking the extra space, trading it down, and winning his gunfights as well. Smiles on the faces of the coaching staff. A polar opposite picture painted in the room adjacent. A Mandatory timeout, their second in this map.
I think it's a good time to take a break, right? Since we've moved into the rifle rounds, Mandatory have not looked as if they're able to challenge what Twisted Minds want to be able to do. I mean, especially with a double sentinel composition, sure, it's not one with extreme control in terms of like cypher trips or deadlock nets, etc. I think overall you should still be expecting Mandatory to be having a better defender's side.
Yeah, it's the passive information brought through Enzo's wall or Kellogg's getting on a line early and getting up in your face, being aggressive. We've seen it since the pistol. Not in the way that Mandatory would like, perhaps. Twisted Minds taking their timings, finding their gaps. The speech is cut short as the timeout concludes. In terms of checking in with those coaches, I mean, they know exactly what it means to go and win Ascension. Mad C on the Mandatory side was with Gentlemates in 2023, partnered up with Takas when they did it.
They've been making a good attempt of it now. The Great Escape and Challengers 3 now to go and finish that run all the way to the end.
Poison orb emitting.
Locating mid as an area they want to try and attack again, especially after the previous and the success found. 3 players to come top mid. Mikey on the boost.
Unfortunately, not able to do anything off the back of it. Not even taking a player off guard. Bullets going awry, and now it's up to Kellogg's. Look at the position he's in. I mean, deep in enemy lines. He's noted by exit, and all the utilities sent his way. It's an easy enough pickup. A lot invested to get 1 kill, and look at this. Mandatory are just giving pick after pick.
Yeah.
It is going to be 9-9 that we settle on after this round.
Twisted Minds making it look easy as well. Mixed investment there with the ult, the judge. It's still some money with Mandatory, but they're fighting to keep the lights on at this point. A tied game on the horizon, just moments away.
And the worst part for Mandatory is they timed out off the back of that last round, right? Like, the fact that you don't find the value after your timeout, I mean, can leave you a little bit frustrated. Flawless round for Twisted Minds sums it up.
Yeah, Mikey, the pre-aim slightly off, Sand crouching underneath, and as soon as Kellogg's misses that first shot, it's the stun, the paranoia, so quick to collapse. Sikray hitting some shots as well to make it flawless. 4 in a row, it's a quick save, and on to round number 20 for Mandatory, it feels like. They do have Takas' ult here, though. Question is, does he find himself in a position to use it?
Apparently not. Decides to opt for a pathing in towards market, maybe feign the presence that he's hiding in the middle of mid.
I mean, he's done this 2 rounds in a row now just to get the door closed, and Fighters 3 top mid. The smoke opens up the chance, which Mikey wastes no time to take. Exit will find one back, but that's all for now. Chance opens up, Enzo takes it. Head clean off of Exit. 4 versus 2, and all of a sudden, there's something in the air with this round.
Yeah, Twisted Minds want to go and try and take this top mid space away from Mandatory as well. So options they don't really want to go. But Mandatory at the same time, they're going elsewhere. They've given the site up.
Kellogg's is still alive, so this trademark is a bit of a problem. You can't get past it. Someone's got to do something. Sand's orb is main. The wall's not in a great position, so they have been revealed.
Cage trigger.
Do Twisted Minds expect 4 Mandatory players in main? They're going to find at least one of them. That's Sand picking up Kellogg's. There's more to be had of this, but Mandatory finally shut it down. Double digits around before you expected them to get a good chance.
I mean, you could see the ideas, right? Fake the Takas had gone mid, get Twisted Minds interested. When that smoke goes, all the cannons fire. As you said, double digits, got,
Yes. Allez, c'est bien.
and it is mandatory to pick it up as well. And a
Levels
goal there.
For those, yeah. No, it was the call to just fight mid, I think, was absolutely huge after Twisted Minds taking the aggressive control. And yeah, it is the Paper X play. TP from Mikey through the window! Oh no, Exit's picked him up.
Yeah, but main control got. That's the big thing here, because now it's a problem that Twisted Minds need to try and clear out when they go and take the site. The Odin there, and the next kill goes to Mandatory, but because the res, they're a player in front.
They'll know where Twisted Minds have snaked off to. Kellogg's keeping an eye on the mid space. Mandatory knowing Twisted Minds' tricks too well. Continuing on this endeavor. Kellogg's still hanging around. And Enzo's still stuck in B main. He has not made any progression on the site. It's a slow retake attempt.
Time is ticking away at the same time, so Enzo needs to make a move soon, and so does the full pack.
We're waiting for the rest of his team to do it. They cause the distraction, and that's where Enzo strikes. Exit picked up on site. Spike not planted for Zemo with a slow and a smoke at his feet. Has to go the long way round, and there's no chance to recover it once he finds himself in that position. 11 for Mandatory, responding after the eco, and reclaiming and rebuilding their lead.
I like the idea from Mandatory to try and be aggressive. Mikey doesn't get his timing right either, which is unfortunate. Tries to dip away, and unfortunately, the worst part for Twisted Minds off the back of that was that Mandatory had control of main, and a very important part, and then Twisted Minds, I don't know, I feel as if they didn't have any further ideas of what to do on that B site.
Yeah, I think that's how you can discern between, you know, the good IGLs at this level and the great in-game leaders.
Yeah.
Because in a situation like that, you're forced to react when Mandatory are taking the early main space. And sure, he actually loses the duel, Mikey, to Exit. So more than anything, Twisted Minds had an opportunity to sort of reset and choose how it is exactly that they wanted to play it. And you have to commend the space they were able to take, but discipline shown by Mandatory in those positions not to rush things.
Yeah. And I think that that's the thing that Enzo has always been great at, is drilling the simple stuff, the fundamentals, how you react off certain scenarios and how to work together. So, on a plate, no more timeouts left for the end of this match. Maybe if we get to overtime.
Yeah.
But it seems as if Mandatory once again will look towards mid.
Kellogg's has brought out the operator, but he is on a very passive A line. Has his trap for short, playing elbow. Early info from Hip as Mandatory are all over the mid space. 4 players occupying this.
And contact taken from Kellogg's, not forced to use the TP, so he can stay on this passive lane.
But this is so horrible for Twisted Minds. You've got a player down. You're probably going to peek into this next angle that Kellogg's is taking around the cage. He's going to get out.
I mean, I thought the plan for Mandatory would have been to go on a quick flank, but that's not the case. Instead, it's all 5 players to retake normally, and it's quick because they've used the Nightfall. Takas doesn't get the chance to take a fight, and Twisted Minds well aware of what they needed to do. Mikey at the same time, though, slips in undetected, but it's still an advantage for Twisted Minds. It continues to be as they look to end it out. Odin, the only resistance here. Finally, the spike can be committed.
Just 43 points of health, just used the heal, not going to have any more. Just down to the gun in his hands. The Odin to make the difference, but the tag from the cam ends it.
That's just unfortunate the way it works out. I mean, I thought the way, like, having so much space at Mandatory, we've not really seen them go for these flanks, right?
No.
Instead, like, a much more whipper take, and Twisted Minds, to be fair to them, well aware of what to do.
Yeah, I kind of respect the decision-making from Mandatory. They want to go for their set retake, but we saw how that played before in the 5v5, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wasn't able to convert from that position, and with the ultimates that they invest there as well, the Hunter's Fury also, oh sorry, not the Hunter's Fury, the Nightfall coming out. Twisted Minds are in a very strong position to try and endgame this now. Huge swing round when you look at the money on the Mandatory side.
Well, we've seen this round before, but there's not 2 bodies at the other side of that smoke top mid.
There.
If Mandatory lose this, Twisted Minds could find themselves up to 12. with at least one map point on their opponent's pick, heading into Lotus, which they are yet to lose in the last year and a half. So, rough position. In terms of the early engagements though, Twisted Mind's a lot slower on their uptake in terms of mid control. The Prowler from Hip confirming no player presence behind this.
That's going to be big for Mandatory, because now they can start to lean towards whatever side, and it seems like all 5 players are being sent to reinforce A. A second Prowler used to confirm nobody top mids.
Yeah, and because we've just seen Sand use all of the toxins on both the orb and the wall, they're not going to have that to take the site here.
Exit, just seeing that there's 2 players on towards this site, and well, here we go, in with the overdrive, trying to help and support. TACAS at the back of site doesn't work out. This A site under siege, and it's going Twisted Mind's way. Oh, unfortunately, Kellogg's not able to deny the pit, and the spike planted.
Low HP on Sand. And he's gonna be found by Enzo with the spray. The curtains come falling down, and Kellogg's in a 2v1. Just stands no chance.
All even, 11-11. That leaves us with a 2-round shootout. Regulation, all of the rounds of regulation needed. And it seems like this A site is just a problem for Mandatory every single time.
Yeah.
You fought well.
Yeah, I thought when Enzo found this, quick reposition off the first kill, maybe there was a chance, but nothing going. 24 rounds to be played at least, but it's the penultimate one here that chooses who has the advantage to close out our opener. Oh, and Kellogg's isn't going to miss that shot. Ult comes out. TACAS chasing coattails and finding a gun for his efforts.
Yeah, the stun was placed perfectly, but look at Twisted Minds. They want to go straight towards mid and through market.
Forced into another uncomfortable reaction. Twisted Minds have buckled under this kind of pressure before, but Zemo won't miss his opportunity.
There is a res available for Enzo if they can get towards that X, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's up to Kellogg's, and it's up towards TACAS, who has a rifle in his hands.
Hip caught in transition, but it's all about Kellogg's. The ult is back out, and from the hip fire, Enzo finding one with a hand cannon. Still the tour de force alive and operating in the realms of the B side, closing the net. TACAS coming in, the 1-2 punch, all on Kellogg's now, finding the first, but the second evades him. It's Sikray to shut it down. 12 for Twisted Minds. They strike first.
I mean, this is so important to find, and it comes so close into what is essentially a thrifty round, even though there is an ultimate in play and a rifle rescued. Advantage Twisted Minds, the MENA representatives. Can they go and arguably find an upset here?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Well, Mandatory have been so consistent throughout the stages this year. Appearances in the first and third. We didn't see Twisted Minds play against interregional competition until, only 45 days ago, but here, it's looking good for them. Sikray and Zemo responding to the opener. With so much control deep into Mandatory territory, they have to find the next, or that might just be it.
Well, at least able to get one back in the conversation. But Twisted Minds completely run away from the last 2 remaining players. Spike down, and you look at the health pool of Mandatory, it does not look good.
Yeah, Hip has 2 Prowlers to try and make his way back through. First finds Trapwire. A remove of the cam, but Sikray is a late win condition from main. Mandatory so concerned with these player positions, it's taken a lot of time just to get back to the site.
I mean, and to try and retake, you've only really got one haunt as well, so it's not looking good whatsoever.
Util is back up, but Kellogg's needed that first shot. Player positions revealed on the Mandatory side, and time is ticking. Sand hits the bottom of the hourglass. That's it, 13-11. Twisted Minds taking the first in the series. The pick of Mandatory, no less. And with them heading to hallowed home turf next, the odds are ever in their favor.